Okay, so then I hope we can continue. I was talking about the idea of CloudFlow to combine cloud computing for engineering workflows. So CloudFlow is largely driven by an end user. In this case, one end user that is developing water turbines for maintenance, repair, and overhaul. And they are obviously involved in the whole process of designing, simulating, assuring the quality, and managing the data. So this is a very, I think, a very usual engineering workflow that already spans a couple of design stages. And we think this is also some of the discriminating factors between CloudFlow and other projects such as Fortissimo. They are looking more into individual simulations and simulation domains, and we like to bring together value chains and to support them by engineering. So why do they wish to use functionality? Because they want to go faster to the market with better products and more efficient development, leveraging HPC resources, for instance, for higher spatio-temporal resolutions or more finite elements, for instance, or for more complex physics, more complex turbulence models, and or transient simulations. So we are developing an infrastructure which is open for new cloud-based engineering services, and that's actually the link into these open calls where you can suggest new experiments, new application experiments to expand our infrastructure with your user-driven challenges. This infrastructure is easing the accessibility to HPC resources and also providing the help to establish new business models. We are currently running 6 experiments, and the 2 open calls are looking for 7 new experiments each. So we have 6 experiments of which I'd like to go into detail a little bit more, like for 2 or 3 of them. Let's start with CAD on the cloud. So the end user is interested in developing turbine blades, as I said. But from a vendor perspective, this is an experiment where the vendor is trying to experiment with add-ins downloaded from the cloud. So the end user has the CAD system installed, but dedicated functionality can be rented and downloaded from the cloud. So that's not the traditional HPC back-end simulation experiment. This comes next. This is a flexible way for a software vendor to provide functionality on the fly by using cloud resources. Second experiment I'd like to talk about is CFD on the cloud. As I said, that's pretty traditional. So you have an HPC cluster in the back end, and you launch computationally heavy fluid simulations, and you get hopefully better results back in less time. And the third thing is system simulation on the cloud. So here we are talking more about 1D simulations, multiphysics, hydraulics, and so on and so forth, based on Modelica, the modeling language. And here the challenge is to run many simulations in parallel as batch jobs to accomplish parameter studies for optimizing the layout of the whole system. Again, on an HPC infrastructure. So these are 3 ideas that show you also the variety of how we try to make use of cloud resources, either at add-ons, as number crunchers for one big challenging simulation, or for running many simulations at the same time. So technology goes hand in hand also with business models. Here you see the other 3 experiments done by Missler, Jotten, and Sintef. The details you can find on our webpage. Some words on the consortium. For experiment evaluation, and that may be interesting for you in the future as well, we have Nottingham University running the evaluation and guaranteeing the comparability of the evaluation results. CASA, a company from Spain, is partner in the consortium and willing and foreseen to help you with developing and testing new business models, if you like. And we have Arctur as the HPC provider. Please note, you can come with other HPC providers, so we are open to new ones. If you don't have an HPC provider, you can still make use of Arctur, and in the detailed documents on our webpage you also find a tentative price list of the services of Arctur. The other 3 institutions, AI, Fraunhofer, and Sintef, are taking care of the infrastructure. Okay, so far I was talking about the internal experiments that we are currently running. Now let's come to the open call. We have opened our call last Monday, June 30. And we are looking for 7 new application experiments in the area of computational technology, computational services for the manufacturing and engineering industry. Preferably SMEs, but we are not limited to only SMEs. So you can also come up with an SME and a larger company, making a pair that kind of collaborate along the value chain. We'd like to address workflows in one company or across companies, and we're looking for innovative product development, innovative products such as mechatronic products or even cyber-physical systems. The consortia can consist of 1 to round about 4 partners. 1 end user is required. You cannot propose an experiment without having an end user and a real market-driven need to make use of cloud services by the end user. Other consortium members can be software vendors, HPC providers, and research institutions, and your consortium will be complemented or backed up by the existing CloudFlow partners and CloudFlow Competence Center. So we, the existing partners, are helping you by adapting the infrastructure to run your experiment in our framework. Publication date was last Monday. We will close by September 30. From October to end of the year, there will be the reviews. So we have to review the experiments by independent reviewers and the negotiations. And we plan to start the experiments by 1st of January next year. And the duration for the experiment is 1 year. And each application experiment is receiving 100K euros EC contribution on average. We see a maximum by 110,000 euros. So the bigger the consortium is, you have to think a little bit about, if you're just one partner, then you may suggest a budget smaller than 100,000 euros. And if you are a bigger consortium, you may want to go for the 110. But you have to justify your cost anyway in your proposal. So more info you can find under the shown link. I will show the website in a second. It is www.eu-cloudflow.eu/opencalls, and there you will find 7 documents. A short call document, it's a 1-pager with all the facts. The guide for applicants I'll show you in a minute. Then the proposal template, so the proposal that you have to write is approximately 12 pages long. It is not a full European project proposal. And then there is a short technical description of the infrastructure of CloudFlow as is, and a partner profile. What are the 7 partners doing at the moment, and what they are interested in doing in the future, so that you can also use this information as a hub to connect your proposal to what we're already doing. Our mission is to make cloud infrastructures a practical solution for the manufacturing industries. And before repeating the links again and opening the Q&A session, I'd like to show you the website. So this is the home page, and this is the start page. And if you click to open calls, you will be automatically forwarded to the first open call web page. And then you find here on the left-hand side 5 documents, actually. So there is the first one, which is the short form. This gives you all the facts. Proposals have to be written in English, where to upload them. There is a link to the submission tool. Submission tool is opened by mid of July, and more information, other links, and information on the consortia. So that's just one page or 1 page and a half. Then the guide for applicants. This is the more detailed instructions that we give to you in terms of what is CloudFlow all about, what are the objectives of the open call, how new application experiments can be structured, what are the targeted branches. This is just giving you examples. We're not limited ourselves to what's in the document. So you can also propose from other branches, but it should somehow be product design, engineering, and manufacturing related. Which characteristics should the application experiments have? We give some examples of what we think are valid application experiments, and some examples of what we think are potentially unfeasible application experiments, given the kind of time and resource framework that we have. So we think that those 8 pages are really something that you should read before you start writing your proposal. This continues with the consortia. Again, we give tips and hints for valid and non-recommended consortia. And then we finalize here with the rules of the proposal preparation and some information on how we evaluate and how we select. And finally, the funding regulations. So please keep in mind, this is an FP7 project. Your funding will also be done according to FP7 rules. Although now we are already somehow in the year of the H2020 framework, CloudFlow is an FP7 project funded by the last call of FP7, and we have to stick to these rules. The third document is the short technical description. So here you find overview information about the CloudFlow infrastructure, some technicalities and explanations, and I scroll forward to the end of the document. By the way, here chapter 2.3 gives you an idea of what you have to do to add your service to the CloudFlow infrastructure. And then we talk about the hardware layer here that is provided by Arctur. Again, you can come with your own HPC provider. But if you want to make use of Arctur, you can also contact them. You have the link information and the contact information down there to discuss your experiment with Arctur. So these are examples of the running experiments. and in the end you find partner descriptions. And for each partner, they talk about what they are, what they do at the moment, and future possibilities. As I said before, this may give you the option to link to them for your application experiment. And then finally, you have two versions of the proposal template, one in docx and one in doc format. And here we have introduced or integrated questions, guiding questions that help you to fill the proposal in a concise way. We also give you hints of what kind of maximum length per section we expect. And at the very end of the proposal, you will find the evaluation criteria. The evaluation criteria are one-to-one related to the section before. So for each section, we have one evaluation criteria. In this way, we think it's very straightforward. The better you answer the questions in the sections, the easier it is for the evaluators to evaluate your proposal. Okay, maybe one more thing. CASA, the company working on the business models and business aspects, is also willing to help you with the business models. So if you like to get in touch with CASA, or if you have questions about the business models, we can go a little bit more into the details here. Here you see the contact information. So please keep in mind, it is not only about technology. The project is what kind of business models are interesting for an end user, for a software vendor, to make engineering services more affordable and more accessible. So you find also in our proposal template this balance between technical aims of your experiment and business aims of your experiment. With having said this, I'd like to open the Q&A session. Here on this slide, you find the most important links. And yeah, I think this is it for the moment, and I'm curious to hear your questions. Thank you for listening. Now, Sylvia, I think you have to open up the connection for the people, right?
Anyone that is, everybody who is not linked to the webinar through the phone, who are doing the phone through the, the phone connection through the laptop or computer, you can unmute yourself. So if that's the case, like we hear now, you can go ahead and start.
Yes, good morning, Giuseppe Padula from University of Parma. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay,
fine. I have a question concerning costs for the Arctur PC provider. These costs have to be included inside the proposal. I mean that when we do the proposal, we should include a budget cost for the utilization of the cost for utilization for cloud and HPC services.
Exactly. So the running costs for the HPC services have to be stated in the proposal, no matter if you are using Arctur or any other HPC center.
Thanks.
And this costs is part of your budget.
Fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi there, this is Craig Sheridan over at Flexent. So this is the first open call you have for CloudFlow. Can I ask you what the plans are for the second open call? Will that be an open call for infrastructure providers to join your consortium and increase the sort of type and capabilities of test beds that you provide?
I'm not sure whether I've heard the question really well. I understood whether we are open for infrastructure providers, and I try to make this point. We are looking for user-driven experiments, so you have to have an end user. The end user may want to use an existing software on a new infrastructure or on the existing infrastructure. So we are open to new HPC centers, yes. If this is the question, maybe it's already answered.
Okay, thank you for that. But so you plan another open call in the future, right? So what will the future open call be geared towards?
Okay. So the future open call will be opened in a year from now. So we have a second one in which we again looking for 7 experiments. The idea behind CloudFlow, as I introduced it, is to have more and more complex workflows along the progression of the project. So in the second call, we will consider what we have received in the first call and then adapt our call. But in principle, the idea is to make the experiments of the second call more challenging towards workflows, towards the integration of different simulation domains, such as co-simulation of different physical effects, to make them more demanding with respect to data, to services. So we'd like to increase in the complexity that we approach over the duration of the project.
Okay, thank you.
More questions?
One more question.
Go ahead.
Is it permissible for one company about 500 employees to apply for simulation project? It's about CFD.
Yeah, this is Mostar, right? I answered in the chat window. Yes, also bigger companies can apply. We have to have a certain share of SMEs overall, but bigger companies can apply in any case.
Okay, thank you. One more question. As far as I can see in documents, only FEM or CFD simulation are mentioned as targeted area. My question is, are IT companies eligible to apply for their project? For example, here we currently have one small company. It's about less than 10 employees that is working on their new software in area of computer security or something like that. That has to be parallelized. So they would like to apply. Are they eligible?
Okay. So first of all, one has to know and to note that these application experiments are not research projects. The idea of an application experiment is you have a software vendor, an IT company, doing some kind of simulation software. It's not necessarily CFD. I mean, we have one example for CFD at the moment, but that CFD example is very much linked to the turbine design. So you may come up with another CFD example in another branch, and you are still complementary to the existing experiments. This is something that we have described in our guide for applicants. So, a software company developing a software, maybe a finite element software in the area of structural mechanics, they allowed to ask for co-funding for bringing this software to the cloud. It is a good starting point if the software is already parallelized, but parallelization work could also be, to some extent, part of the experiment. It has to be doable in the time frame and in the amount of funding which is available for one experiment. So if you say we would like to parallelize our code, but it costs us, I don't know, 5 person-years to do it, then that may not be a very good fit. Yeah, I think that was kind of a balanced answer to it. So think about it, where you are at the moment with the software, what is the status, and we do fund IT companies that want to cloudify their software. This is officially stated in the guide for applicants.
Okay. Currently, in this situation, I'm talking about computer security. It's not mechanical engineering. It's not microbiology or something like that, or anything else. It's specifically computer security simulations.
I mean, the framework. That's why Sylvia talked at the beginning. The framework is ICT innovation for engineering and manufacturing industries. So if in the end there is an intangible product, I think the priorities will be given to other experiments. So if you, for instance, you are in medical technologies and you are developing some kind of new apparatus, that's a product that you can touch in the end. And such kind of developments are expected as applications here. Or if you are in the area of AEC, so building engineering, in the end you have a building or a piece of the building, maybe the control infrastructure. That's something that I see fit very well. Or you are the developer of automation and production technology for factories. That's a perfect fit. Or you develop some kind of transportation units, being it trains, cars, or whatever. Or you are a small company in the supply chain of a bigger company developing such products. That is what we are looking for.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I have a follow-up question. Actually, I have 2 questions, but a follow-up question on what you just said. You said this is application experiment, and it's not research activity. Is that right?
Exactly. It is not about research. You should have a sound basis to start with.
So if I translate this in FP7 rules, that means that the funding rate is demonstration activity, or do you still consider this as RTD?
No, it depends. It depends on the funding rate depends on the status of your company, and for SMEs, it's 75%. Demonstration activities means to show something which has been shown somewhere else in a new environment. These application experiments should have innovation in it for the system vendor and or for the end user. But it's not like we want to fly to Mars, we don't know how it works, let's do some research.
Okay, thank you. So I keep the 75 funding rate for it. My second question is more on IPR issues. the proposals, well, as a template of the proposals you have online doesn't mention it at all. So if I'm an end user's SME and I'd like to have some testing on the HPC you're providing, what is the confidentiality? How is it tackled? Is it something in the consortium agreement? Is there something which is should be safe, or is it working inside?
Yes, of course. So all experiments are run independently from the others, and the information about the experiments is only shared in the consortium core as far as it relates to partners you need or the institutional partners. So we do not plan to have reviewers, for instance, from the commercial partners, so that the experiment proposers don't have to fear that potential competitors will read about their ideas for the experiment. Nonetheless, there has to be a report out of the results of your experiment, a condensed version, an excerpt, so to say, which is public. So the EC, from like the 7 experiments that we start, 1 or 2 may fail, but 5 other experiments will be very successful. And European Commission, of course, wants to know about our successes. The infrastructure, the hardware infrastructure, if you want to use Arctur, they have implemented state-of-the-art security mechanisms. You can get in touch with them for the details if you like.
So this sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just about to ask whether this was addressing all the aspects of your question.
Well, you said the information is shared among the consortium, and Wilbur doesn't have access to the. I will call it economic information, just to be wide. Is it something which is specifically tackled at the consortium agreement?
The consortium, you will be a partner in the project, and you will be a part of the consortium agreement. And the consortium agreement is in line with the DESCA rules. And I have not said that all your information is shared with all the consortium. This may be a misunderstanding. When you send in the proposal, there is a core group consisting of DFKI, SINTEF, and Fraunhofer. We are all non-for-profit organizations, and only those ones are seeing the full details of your experiment.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So I think that's very important to note that the IPR of each experiment is treated safely and securely, and one experiment cannot see the results of the other experiment. You will all start a new work package in the framework of CloudFlow. Yeah, and you can decide what is the public part from the experiment that you want to report on. But a little bit of reporting about the experiment to a restricted set of people is of course needed. So you get money from the European Commission, and they have to know and see what you have done for your money. But that's not reporting to the public. Sorry, can you repeat? I haven't understood a word.
Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Very badly, but try it.
This is Thomas Freeman speaking for VDI. We have a software that we would look for, what I understand, for manufacturing SMEs.
Sorry, I cannot understand what you are saying. Can you use the chat window?
Yeah, okay.
On the meantime, does anyone else have any questions while we wait for the written question?
Hi, my name is Lara. I would like to ask about the business model part. How are we doing all this, or which kind of support do we have?
So, first of all, why do we have a business model aspect in the project? I'd like to explain this before I answer the question. We have seen in the last 1-2 years that there is a bit of a deadlock situation in the field because many vendors don't know exactly how they shall offer the cloud services. So the business model in terms of what to count and how to account and how much to ask for when a company is using a piece of software from the cloud is some kind of, let's say, fuzzy and risky bit to the business model of software vendors, because if they provide the new services too cheap, then they will be out of the market soon. If they will provide it for too expensive, then nobody is accepting it. So CloudFlow and the experiment is prepared to give you the option or the opportunity to try out business models and to measure what kind of data, how many CPU time, whatever a certain experiment requires, and then adapt your business according to the data that you have collected. Also for the end users, it's important that the service is attractive, so they also want to have a benefit from not buying a license by renting it temporarily. Okay, having said this, so the support in terms of business models is that you can team up with CASA, one of the existing partners, and analyze the business model that you currently run and discuss and brainstorm with them what to do in the future, develop different alternatives, and then try them in during your experiment. CASA is a company which is having this background of consultancy, which have already experience with the first wave of experiments in CloudFlow. They have developed and analyzed and brainstormed and consulted with the software vendors in CloudFlow so far, and they bring in their expertise, hopefully beneficial for the new partners that we take on board in CloudFlow. And they are following, of course, accepted methodologies when doing this. Something that a research institution like ours in the field of information technology wouldn't be able to do. But that's a consultancy company, and that's not a competitor to IT software vendors. And this is an offer, so you can also come with your own consultancy company and say, we bring in, I don't know which one, we bring in a company and they may get 10,000 euros from your experiment budget to do the consultancy for you. That's also possible.
Okay, Andrew?
Yeah.
This is Jorge Alban from CARSA. Okay, if you allow me to say something.
Yeah, Yes, you can.
So as long as okay. Anyhow, you explained everything very well. So just to add that for this aspect related to business model design and implementation, okay, we can say that for all the new applicants interested in submitting proposals to the open call, okay, that we follow an Osterwalder Canvas model that we are already implementing with the partners participating in the CloudFlow project. So everyone probably will know about this, but we analyze different aspects related to the infrastructure where we talk about key partners, key activities, and key resources involved in the new business model operation, in this case in the cloud, of course. Then we analyze some aspects related to the customer relationships, customer segments, and channels to address all those new customers for the new cloud operation. Then we come up with the final financial viability, cost structures, and finally the revenue streams. Okay, and all this addressing the final value proposition for the end user of the client. So said this, and we can support all the new applicants for this first CloudFlow open call with the definition or somehow helping them to define the work package related to business model within the proposal, and then of course the analyzing and the implementation of this new business model, where we recommend every consortium to reserve between 1 and 1.5 person month, around that amount. Let's say according to our cost, it would be around 12,000 euros, okay? And with this amount of money, we can, as I said, help them defining the work package within the proposal, and then the deployment and implementation and final testing of the new business model addressing cloud aspects.
Thank you for the info.
Okay, you're welcome.
In the chat, there has started a discussion of whether the budget of the 110,000 euros is per partner or per experiment. It is, I thought it was clear, it is per experiment. If you have 4 partners, then you have to distribute this amount of money over the partners that take part in your experiment as this new consortium. It does not mean that you have to divide the sum just by the number of partners and then spread the amount evenly. You can also say the software vendor for cloudifying the software needs 40 or 50. The end user doing the requirements analysis and the execution of the experiment and the evaluation of the experiment may get 10 or 20,000 euros, and the rest could be for a research partner or for another end user or for the HPC resources. So you have to come up with a sound plan that is describing how you split the money over the partners that you bring in to CloudFlow with your new experiment.
Hi, it's Eva Kosho speaking from Olonix. Can I put a question?
Sure.
Okay, it's concerning the involvement of partners which are already in the CloudFlow. Is there any constraints related to the role, the effort, or the budget for these partners?
Yeah. So on average, each experiment will be backed up by existing partners of an in-kind contribution on average of approximately 40,000 euros. So which partner is helping which experiment will be decided. Will be decided during the evaluation and negotiation phase. So we can't predefine, or we can't define this a priori. We have to see which experiments are coming in, and the consortium partners are available to help with the experiment. And you are free to contact experiment partners already. That's why we have described the partners in our documents and what they are doing and in which experiments they are currently involved. And if you like to hook up on a CFD experiment, you can get in touch with Numeka. If you want to hook up with others, you can get in touch with others. But the idea is, of course, also to not only make use of the existing vendors, we also want to bring new vendors into CloudFlow to expand the number of services and the functionality that the CloudFlow infrastructure provides for European SMEs in the future.
Okay, thank you. Just a clarification, the 40,000 euro you mentioned will be part of the CloudFlow budget and not of the new experiment budget, right?
No, this is extra. This is extra budget. You don't have to take care about this. You have to define what you are doing with your 110K. What is CloudFlow doing to support you? This is a discussion that we will be doing internally. But we have the equivalent of in-kind contribution to what I just said to help you with the experiment and adapting the CloudFlow infrastructure so that your experiment become feasible. In other words, this also means that if you have requirements towards the CloudFlow infrastructure that are incredibly complicated due to whatever reason, we may also see some experiments as unfeasible, and this is what we have described in the description of work, and that's why, to clarify this as soon as possible, we like to encourage all of you to get in touch with us as soon as you have your experiment in a draft version, so that you may start with 1-2 pages, a white paper of your experiment, and get in touch with the CloudFlow Competence Center. Use the info@eucloudflow.eu email address. Share your ideas with us so that we know what you plan to do, and we can prepare ourselves, and we can also give you some hints and indications. Of course, we have to make, these hints that we are giving is our opinion, is not official EU statements, and we have to treat the experiments somehow evenly. We cannot prefer a certain experiment, so that's why we started with our frequently asked question list, and if we see that other questions are kind of coming up repeatedly, we have to make, as European project officers, we have to share, let's say, the core of this information with others. Not saying that we want to give away your IPRs, but if you ask us something about the internal contributions, and then we have to make this information public, that we are prepared to this in-kind contribution. Good. Next question, please. If there is no other question, I'd like to stress again the document. The guide for applicants is 8 pages, and I think that some of the questions that you have had in the telephone conference, we also addressed in the guide for applicants. So please have a look there. We have spent a lot of thought trying to make our guide for applicants as precise as possible, exemplify our thoughts to help you to understand what we think, but still it's not always easy to express it in a way that is completely free of room for interpretation. So after reading it, you can always come back to us with questions on the documents or on the webinar. Yeah, we are looking forward to receive them. We are actually very glad that we have had such a big list of participants in the webinar, and we are looking forward to get great proposals from you and to work with you in the future. I think it will be also a very good experience. It is not common that projects are launching open calls. So far, the other projects that have closed their open calls, they were overwhelmed by proposals. They have received a factor of 3 to 4 more than they can fund. But if you compare this with the official figures of the H2020 call, you see that also your chances here are higher to get a project than to write an H2020 proposal. Of course, the budget for a full H2020 project may be also a little bit different, but with a funding rate of 1/3, 1/4, 1/5, we are really looking forward to get your input and to get your questions, and we try our best to answer them. So, more questions? No. Then I think we should end here. Use the opportunity of the web and of the email list, and so good luck with your proposal. Looking forward to hear from you again. Bye-bye.